But one thing has happened all over the place, like big tech, small tech, consumers of both big tech and small tech, is that this epidemic has forced us to think about having the tools in place to handle this kind of situation, which hopefully doesn't happen that often. But like, and also it has helped us to taste some of the things we have never tasted earlier. Means working from home, and or delivering services digitally
Yeah,
and not
yeah.
flying around
Do you
too
think
much.
it will accelerate digital transformation? Because we know sometimes back it was a luxury, so some companies, right, could not afford the innovative initiatives, right, putting it on back burner. But
Yeah,
do you see, yeah, the chance of acceleration, not because you want to, but because you have to, kind of? Mhm.
yeah. People who were trying to go to the sort of digital world through digital transformation, um, or people who are a little behind, or some people are a little ahead. It's brought upon to them like you have to like go faster. I mean, you cannot ignore it. Yeah.
Yep, yep. I hear you. I hear you. So you know what? I spoke with a lot of entrepreneurs lately in past few weeks, and they saying, "Thanks goodness, big guys creating the infrastructure that you mentioned and digital services that you can really. It's an easy entry barrier, kind of right entry level participation you can have. Right, depends on the vendor that you choose. But
Yeah.
then smaller companies, startups developing those platforms, they're closer to customer, they're closer to industries. Right, they understand better what's happening on the ground. So do you see those, it's not ISVs, it's kind of very specialized vendors, you know, smaller companies that have the opportunity now. Do you see that progressing anywhere, or people will be more cautious, basically?
I think people will be a little more cautious, and in tough times, we want stability, right? I mean that's the fact, right? Even in political systems, people you usually don't change the regimes or governments like or the leaders in these kind of times. Same with the vendors. When you are using a vendor, I don't think you want to change that midway. So yeah, it sounds like appealing theoretically that you will see the newer vendors taking advantage of this and stuff like that. But people are staying put unless their existence is threatened by not using certain kind of technology, and which is only available from smaller vendors or mid-sized vendors, right? Um, yeah, in some cases, the bigger vendors. Maybe I'll take it back. Like I think bigger vendors can do most of the stuff what smaller vendors can do. Yes, they can be more expensive. Yeah, their margin they have to keep those intact. And um, there's one actually I read a lot on the theory of innovation, and we're coming out of Harvard University, and a lot of good work came from that area. And then the theory of jobs to be done came from there. I think about those things. I think one way to innovate or enter the new markets is going to the non-consumers. And that's one big way. If you're a startup or a mid-sized business, like sometimes you could call it going down the market for big companies. Like, hey, you have been serving this big companies, now go down the market. Um, and the smaller guys can go start at the bottom and then topple the big guys. And that's how the sort of big guys can be brought down by smaller guys gradually, right? And that means going to non-consumers. In this case, with this epidemic, I think there are a lot of non-consumers in a way that they were not using that technology at all. Now they have to. So in that sort of sense, it has opened the door for smaller vendors to knock that door.
Yep,
Uh,
yep. And I saw the chart. I know it's common knowledge now, but I may be the last one who saw it. But, you know, in the last crisis, 2008, 2009, you know, how many companies were founded, and some of them, they
yeah,
really grabbed the space, right? Instagram, Pinterest, you name it, right? The cool places right there. And they just came out of disappointments and some losses, right, back on that crisis. So, and also another meme that goes everywhere, it's basically never waste a good crisis.
yeah.
What do you do that?
I strongly believe in that. I think the thing is that when we are very busy with business, are we create these processes around us, and we're busy with the mundane stuff, right? So the innovation happens when we cut off from the mundane and we step back. And that's why we get a lot more creative ideas when we're taking shower. I mean, like there's no magic in shower. We are disconnected from everything else. And it's like in a grander scheme of things, like we are in a long shower for a couple of months now. A lot
Exactly.
of ideas are coming to
Yeah,
our
there is
mind.
some, yeah, intellectual purity and, freshness will come out of it, so I kind of want to look at.
And also like on a personal level, the meaning of life and how you should conduct your life and what's more important, like are you running after money versus like are you spending time with your loved ones. I think it's making us think about those things too.